Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the previous episode, we completed part 1 of the trial. Today's episode, right now, we're going to get into part 2. If you're hot today's episode, make sure that like, subscribe to the channel. Excellent work, Ryonosuke. That was superb. My heart was in the mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grime sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see that inside of courtroom again. Haha. Anyway, it looks like we exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Jezaille Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. But why? Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up, bang! I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Old man? Professor Mikotoba.
Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say.
Yes, seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial.
Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled.
Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma?
So that's your stance. I was afraid you feel that way.
Kazuma?
Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man.
To me?
Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case.
Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim?
Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that before.
Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. I have no doubt that your pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck.
Thank you!
Now then, I need you two to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need.
Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama.
Defendant Naruhodo, court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once.
It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before those odd fossils know what's hit him. Kazuma?
What?
Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believe me, then I'm fairly sure I already been found guilty by now.
Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend.
Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this is just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You could treat me one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large potion, of course. Why do I feel like he's just gonna die off in this game? That or final boss rival as a prosecutor. Either or.
The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under the rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry.
Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely the good relations we forge with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down in our nation founders? Again, terribly sorry.
If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses? Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up, you jump up, rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing in the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student and one who can arguably study harder too. By standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing I feel strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all.
Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror, you
little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of the truth. With that in mind, the trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Jezaille Brett.
Yes. Your Excellency!
Hello. Is she blind? Nah.
Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan and from such a distant land.
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea!
Is that true? Oh, is that true? No idea. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at La Carnival, but...
Yes, we know all about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
Is that true?
No idea.
More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did. Didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman? Sorry, Inosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
Can we see those eyes?
Wyatt the mask.
Yo, British!
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what?
The lady says her name is Jezaille Brett. She's come from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yuma University's medical faculty.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as hummingbirds sing.
As far as I could tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough.
Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it?
Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English class, Ryosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago at a restaurant called London Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
Why do I feel like I've seen this before? In another game of Ace Attorney. Like one of the person just talks to the other witness. I've seen it somewhere, but whose case was it?
She says yes.
This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese?
She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape, I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over the photograph pic?
I don't know why I just said stumble like that.
Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at that scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? At least put it in British talk.
Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Order in the court.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you describe.
A frightening and sorrowful sight. Oh, we're gonna be here for a while.
Yo, imagine that we had to do like cross on the foreign language. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. Blah blah blah. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. This is a condemning testimony indeed. No! I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words in the court are going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless and until the precise location where the witnesses is have to have a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfits. I don't know why I messed it up. I have nowhere to hide a gun. There are witnesses' own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it that's wrong. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we'll need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Okay, what are we after? Please don't want to translation thing. I had arranged to meet a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. Professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. Who was drinking the freaking thing? After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and got into a fierce argument. Then not long after, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't care, so obviously I can have. What I usually start with right to left for some reason. Yes! Why were you over there anyways? After 2 p.m. in fact, that's really quite a late lunch, isn't it? Okay, that has nothing to do with what we're trying to get over. Dude, late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right? No! A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would have lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of the English intelligence that fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? And then leads on to that part. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered myself a beef steak. Yes. What about the drink? He was unable to eat, you say, and that was because he just had the tooth removed. That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She heard the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean
it was you who ate the steak picture here. Is that right?
That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left.
Exactly as it was left? Dear me, what a harrowing experience. So I've traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world, blah 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 blah. I have no fear, my lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that was subjected to blah blah blah.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right, other than some carbonated water.
Just water?
Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each.
They each raised a glass of carbonated water.
What do you think, Rinosuke, about the witness' last statement?
Oh, come on, the last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has profound bearing on this case. Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing,
At least we're not being... Significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness' last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well, sidestep, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said.
That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one.
Which one?
The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase.
I hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Rinosuke. I ordered a beef steak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Let me see this real quick. Examine.
Who was drinking a bottle, though?
Yeah, let's go check. Let's go press the other one.
Yes!
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did was, when I noticed him, was go over to say hello.
Please don't get angry with me.
No, I wasn't directing the retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor.
I'm afraid your words are in vain.
Sorry?
Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese.
No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyways. English is the future. We must all Supiku English. Speak English.
I wonder if the prosecution will feel the way forever, or only in the presence of beautiful women, huh?
Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be.
Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it?
Yes, I still had some coffee to drink.
And the next time you got up after that
was when I finished my coffee and stood up to leave.
Yes!
Like I said, I did not shoot that gun.
Then, like I said, there's no point repeating the assertion over and over.
Well, I was expecting to be attacked by my own side. Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out of the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun and blah 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 blah. We all know that fact. Yes, it was someone much closer to the victim than me at the time. The highly suspicious lady instead. That will do, you dirty rotten scoundrel. Dirty? You baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy.
It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours.
Shish, shish, shish. What nonsense.
The lady is merely saying what she saw.
And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway.
I don't carry a gun myself. Also, I could have been the culprit.
Yes!
And then he's gonna say something ridiculous that she could have it somewhere else. Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes. Immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not? The honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. There was absolutely no need for any further probing into that matter. Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps? Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that a refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. I know I'm just wasting time with the pressing, but still, we already got our key thing. The lady wishes to point out that of course she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. Not get out of there, just urge her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime, which is why she's only happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who reverses the mood when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm grounding you. Okay, we know what to do. So she's maintained that you got into an argument with the professor at the end of which you shot him, which is out and now totally unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in the dull black school uniform, I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are except for the flapping red ribbons. Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as fiction, that is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even if you with your thick skin must be able to feel the murderous looks, blah blah. Only too well, I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her isn't making me feel any better either. The first thing to do is press her. I already know what to do on that one, Chief. Yeah. I already wasted like 5 minutes just doing the pressing for any more answers. So what we need to do is go over here. Present this photo.
Yes!
That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene, that it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is, it's odd. Dear me, what is odd as defense inability to express itself? Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. That cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass picture here. Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minute whatever? What possible difference does the presence of absence of glass make the case? What? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? We have a bottle. You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say?
It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious! So where's the glass?
Sorry.
But where's the glass?
There, as I assured the court before, this is no consequence at all. Oh, please. We must remember that the student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before our very eyes. What could blame her for concealing a glass or two in her state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So, do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, beautiful woman of mischief? What? No. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag? Yes, Your Excellency, a small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that the glass has absolutely no bearing in the case. The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes nothing to do.
Whatever.
No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing in the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement?
Well, I don't know really.
If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag, and there's a deeper significance there is. So she took the glass away in her handbag. What's in the glass? If you ask me, it's the fact that she took the glass that has a deeper significance here. Why do you think that?
Because it's the property of the restaurant. It's not some harmless act of pilfering, like taking the bar or soap, blah blah blah.
You take soap from the public baths?
What? No, I mean, ahem. That isn't significant here.
It's very significant, but there isn't time or place. There are more important things to concentrate on now. Think maybe you should consider your position too.
Sorry, I will.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory blah blah blah. Do I have to go through this again?
Well, I don't know really.
If you want to pursue... we're starting over again. I thought because there might be something on the glass, but what's in the handbag?
Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English would blah 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 blah.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you picked up on that too. I didn't.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we could deduce that there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga? Oh my god, I'm out messing up. Yes.
Did you or did you not search Miss Jezaille's Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir. I did not.
As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No!
Order, order, order.
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Aoichi?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Next to your boggling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask.
Do you think so, Kazuma?
Here we go again. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary in what way?
I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I completely forgotten about. The photographic print.
Where do you guys get those prints?
The print of the photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can—
There's the glass!
As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of the fashion London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ugh. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Order, order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. The photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court record. I think you had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter. I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there is one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of the crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You were wasting your time. There was no way to defeat the true justice. In fact, you can chew on your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers? Kazuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning the trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on when we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all the evidence placed before me, I hereby found... Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke. I don't think you can rule on this case yet. The amateurist is getting tedious. When His Excellency seems the trial is over, whatever, his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom. Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any for a doubt to matter, and I must make blah 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 blah. Now that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, we could continue, right? Then the ruling of the case would be out of the question. This is blatant Strahd clutching. Look at the photographic print. Look at the shows in the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in the question. There can be no problem in this evidence.
There is. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I will understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court scrutiny. However, I fail to see what glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thoughts exactly. But it's not the handbag we're looking at. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of the rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I'm desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. Well, I can put my finger on it.
Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I'm unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You'll identify the core where is the print we see the significant detail to which you alluded.
It's not this, but it's this right here, right?
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist.
That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Who left their marking? Dear me, I was pondering what the new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly this has nothing whatsoever with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector.
The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Auchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time. It's not a burn mark, is it? Is it a stamp mark?
Is it a stamp mark? Or am I just losing it? I might be losing it. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has lunch appointment with a dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give us final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? You believe this burn has something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we might be able to prise the shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture.
But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked to the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it?
I would, yes.
To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find something between the burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an excruciating connection between the league's burn and the trial.
Between the burn and the trial. Death occurred at 2 p.m. was caused by a loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Can I examine this real quick? Well, what was that burn mark from, is my question. Oh, this. How was that? Alright, let's present it.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print?
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded further evermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady and further really would be I'm messing up left and right. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in the other photograph. How did the victim come to have the unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore.
What? How?
Objection!
You can't phone with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in the photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
This? Present.
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
The plate.
Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. This emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ryunosuke, you're spot on.
Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that was the case, we can't know if it happened on the day of the question or not. It could have been the day before or the day before that. It most likely happened on some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Aoichi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Discernible? Such serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga?
I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure.
can you be more specific, Inspector?
Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can't testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. The anesthesia.
And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on the day or any before it.
That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting?
Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything 3 seconds that day,
That would be beyond I think, Counsel.
then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would, without question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Aoichi? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? The anesthesia.
I must still believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think...
Can it be really true? I never dreamt we arrived at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of the apparent possibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson hadn't noticed the burn was already deceived. I didn't notice the burn. Yes, the professor, being as absent-minded as usual, wasn't aware of his hand falling into a piping hot plate and didn't even notice the burn happening. You didn't even know the professor, and yet here you are labeling him as a bumbling scatterbrain. Huh? How about I hold your wrist on a hot plate and we see how your bubbling scatterbrain copes? Perhaps the scream you let out will wake you up a bit. Well, it's nice that there's some frankness developing between us, partner. I'm just saying the freaking anesthesia will kick in anytime soon. That's what I was hoping. Can I fast forward this, please? He was already dead. Let me see that. Well, we would have heard the gunshot already. Well, we're not penalized for this, so... With this tendency to not up... Again with that? So he was already diseased. Gotcha. Can I fast forward it, please, my friend? Thank you. Come on now. Come on! He was already diseased. No man would remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation.
Counsel? Are you suggesting...
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already?
Dead?
Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness!
Order! Counsel, explain the absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right! That's exactly right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie. But clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Aoichi. It's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered the burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped at that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from the witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead when the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate the twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But, Your Excellency...
The justice system in our country may be in infancy, but rest assured all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Speak. Normal now. What was that smile?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Miss Brett? You speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined, elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
And there it is.
It seems the man in this land possesses none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
Oh, well. You are epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this. The lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
I thought I almost saw eyes right there. So we're finally going to hear our own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting. Ryunosuke.